now.
And welcome into Weather Extra. Lauren, Tania, it's just something about when you see those temperatures like what we're experiencing right now, it's hard to stay warm, right?
It is very tough. Yeah, Tania, if you want, I can give you my jacket because you're stressing me out a little bit over there. Yeah, it is mighty cold.
Yeah, it is chilly out there. It's
There you
certainly ice cold here on Red Mountain right now. Let's take you to what's next, and we do have another hard freeze warning for tonight. We saw some single digits down into parts of the area today to kick things off. I mean, this is some of the coldest weather. You got to go back to, you remember we had the hard freeze during the last Christmas season last year. This is some of the coldest weather we've had since that point. But here on Weather Extra, we've got the extra on where we could have some trouble spots again tonight. Maybe some black ice developing in areas to the north. Again, that hard freeze continues for our area. We got the chance for showers coming back for tomorrow and a hard freeze again on Saturday. It's why we have declared another First Alert Weather Day. Let's take you to our First Alert Sky Vision Network, and we'll start out here. A live look from Coleman High School in Coleman County. We're at 27 degrees. A lot of the roadways out there, we're still seeing a few areas here in Coleman County, over to Winston County, where we still have some patchy areas of ice. And we did have some melting today, but there's still enough residual ice and moisture out there where we could have some redevelopment and some icy patches early tomorrow morning. Dew point down to 9. It is some very dry air. Lauren mentioned earlier, this is one of those nights you certainly got to crank up that humidifier on a night like this. 28 degrees right now at Hamilton. You can actually see there, this is a live look from the EMA there in Marion County, and a little bit of ice still showing up there as well on the roadways. But this has been, you know, one of those deals, you get the ice and it's unlike the snow, right? It takes a lot longer for that to melt away, especially with temperatures in the sub-freezing range. We did make it though just above freezing today in most areas. Notice tomorrow though, we start out, we've got a lot of teens again, so we'll be well below freezing. Another night to drip those faucets, maybe open the cabinets there if you have pipes that are right there exposed to some of those cooler parts of the home. Just make sure that tomorrow morning with those kind of temperatures coming, you have everything properly winterized. Once again, as we look ahead, as we go through the overnight and into tomorrow, the sky conditions stay mostly clear until about mid to late morning tomorrow. We'll really start to see those clouds thicken up, and notice the models here showing some moisture lifting in from the west, and we're going to have our next system. It's going to bring a chance for some showers to the area, but you start to notice that little wintry mix signal there in some of the high resolution data. It's possible as this begins, because it's just been so cold and dry, these northern areas, Vinemont, Coleman, Jones Chapel, over in Blount County as well, here around Aniana and points north towards Susan Moore, northern Etowah counties. Could see a little bit of sleet as this starts, but nothing extreme here. And just note that this go around, instead of the temperatures going down, temperatures are going up. So this will all quickly change over to rain as we go through tomorrow night. But again, the big story here tonight, the frigid weather. I think it's a good night, Lauren, here at supper time for a warm bowl of chili, a warm bowl of soup as those temperatures fall into the 20s.
Oh, that sounds real good for a night like tonight. So as the winter weather cleanup continues across the state, meteorologists Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson join us now to explain how these temperatures set a new record.
It has been extremely cold. It's been hard to stay warm the past couple of days.
I got my long johns on. I've got like the long john tops and the bottoms, just trying to stay warm.
So have we broke any records yet?
Well, we've got, we call them the record low maximum temperatures. Talk about it, Matt.
Okay, well, I changed it to say the coldest high temperature. I feel like that's the easiest way to explain it. So, you know, your high temperature is usually your warmest temperature of the day.
But it's a record low high.
Yeah, so out of all the high temperatures recorded on the 16th of January,
this is the coldest. The coldest high.
Yeah, so yesterday we hit 27 in Birmingham. The coolest before that was 30 back in 1977.
And 28 degrees what we reached in Tuscaloosa. That's our coldest high. It was formerly 31 in 1977. So 77 was a cold time. You remember that, don't you, Matt?
Oh yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, I remember that.
You weren't alive.
Exactly. 54, by the way, is our average I'm not even going to ask how old you were back then. We're looking at those low temperatures this morning, though. Wow. These are real. This is the actual temperature, 1 degree in Haleyville.
Goodness gracious. And several places had single digits. Can you believe the warmer spots were like 10 and 12 degrees?
Yeah, that's toasty right there. So, yeah, this is some pretty cold stuff. And, of course, our weather watchers, who we love, because they stay busy. Every day they give us those highs and lows and how much rain they see, and we appreciate that. But in Lamar County, Tony McDonald, just 4 degrees there.
Can you, even our warmest spots, can you imagine the icicles on John King's mustache at 11 degrees? That's crazy
Similar
stuff.
to the crystals on Claire that when she was running this morning.
Y'all got to check out Claire's Facebook page. She had frozen eyelashes from out.
I have never seen that, but she's a trooper, and shout out to her. But yeah, just cold stuff out there. But have we broke any records today? Well, these are the record lows recorded for January 17th, and I'd say I don't think we're going to be able to beat those.
Yeah, 0 degrees back in 1982 was a cold one.
Yep.
Crazy cold.
Yep, 5 in Tuscaloosa and 2 in Anniston. Don't ask
if you remember that one either.
Nope, not really. Do you?
Yes. Well, I remember 82, but I don't remember those cold temperatures.
Yeah. Well, I've got some good news and bad news. The bad news, it's going to get cold again this weekend. That's why we have that First Alert Weather Day. But, Mickey, you got some good news.
Yeah, we have our low temperature readings getting up into the 30s to 40s. We're talking upper 30s above freezing going into next week. And we could even see highs next week in the 60s.
Yeah, and we might even see those lows in the 50s as well. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel for those not a fan of that Arctic air mass. But unfortunately, it's going to come back again going to Friday, Saturday into Sunday morning.
Until then, I'm going to keep my long johns on, Matt.
Yep, that's a good idea.
All right.
If there's one thing that is guaranteed, Mickey is going to keep his long johns on. Right now, the city of Birmingham, though, is hosting a 24-hour warming station at the BJCC's East Ballroom. It closes tomorrow at 7 a.m., and there are warming stations across Alabama if you need a place to shelter from the cold. We have the full list on our WBRC News app. A number of Alabama communities were still covered in snow or ice this morning, mainly in the northern part of the state. Take a look at this drone video from Haleyville. This is above Haleyville High School. Man, that's beautiful. Snow was covering the campus and football field, as you can see. And then we also got drone video from Huntsville. A blanket of snow covered downtown yesterday. This is after much of the area has been dealing with snow since the system moved in on Sunday evening.
And we aren't the only ones dealing with wild weather. Take a look at this video here on your screen. You'll be able to see all the snow that's in other places across the country, and they're experiencing events from snowstorms to even tornadoes. It's creating issues and even threatening people's power supply. And in New York, seeing a blanket of snow in Central Park for the first time in about 700 days, while other places saw more than 3 inches. And in New Orleans, ice leading to the police shutting down some roads and bridges. Check this out. A small boat was caught on camera getting tossed by strong winds and waves. And down in Florida, severe storms hit parts of the state, leaving the threat of more tornadoes. And in the Northwest, they're bracing for yet another ice storm as that system is expected to move east later this week. In 30 seconds, we take a step into a moment of science as we figure out the answers to why bubbles freeze and the effect of every person on Earth jumping at one time.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Lenahan. We have all been talking about how ridiculously cold it is outside, so let's check on those temperatures. If you have some dinner plans tonight, like Wes was saying, may want to whip up some chili. As we look at those current temperatures, a lot of us actually checking in. Yep, every one of us is at or below freezing this evening. We're at 29 in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, already down to 28 in Hamilton, 32 in Marion, and 29 in Heflin. So y'all know that means we got another ridiculously cold night ahead. Now, comparatively, we've actually improved a little bit. We're running about 5 to 10, even 15 degrees warmer in some spots than we were yesterday. I know, I can't really tell a difference either. And there is just a little bit of a breeze outside, so in some spots we are still seeing wind chills even into the low 20s in northwest Alabama. But as you walk out the door tomorrow morning, make sure you are bundled up, have the gloves, scarf. I don't know, I was feeling a little extra day and wore the snow boots just to make sure I'm careful with the ice. But stay warm in the morning, and we'll continue to track the cold here on Weather Extra.
All right, Lauren, and I've gotten several interesting photos that have been sent to me. A lot of weather experiments happening with these kind of sub-freezing temperatures that we've had in place across Alabama. And while we continue to talk about the freezing temperatures, got one for you. Have you ever seen a frozen bubble? Well, have you ever seen a frozen bubble in Mother Nature? As we see right here, and we do have some pictures that actually were sent in from one of our viewers out there, Liz Guyton. This was in Vernon in Lamar County, where they had some of those single digits and some of those very, very cold temperatures out there. But you can see I've tried this before. It's never really been cold enough that those a lot of times the bubbles pop. But when it gets cold like this, you can make these beautiful orbs of ice, and you can see all the crystalline structures in there. It's just lovely. See, almost looks like a Christmas ornament, right? But just such a beautiful sight there. And I want to thank Liz for sending those to us, and we had some other interesting videos that were sent in as well. But if you ever want to send in any of your weather photos, I've had a lot on my Twitter and my Facebook, but just a reminder that you can also share those weather photos on the WPRC First Alert Weather app.
Thanks, Wes. And hey, we're going to continue with those science lessons tonight as we bring you this week's Moment of Science. Have you ever wondered what would happen if everyone on Earth jumped at the same time? No, me either. Never asked that question. But we've got the answer for you and more.
We're continuing our month of planetary what-ifs with our third question. What would happen if everybody on Earth jumped at once? Nothing. But that's boring, and it's technically not nothing, so we may as well explore why. The current world population is just over 8 billion people, which translates to a mass estimate of about £1 trillion. That's 1,500 Empire State Buildings or 75 Great Pyramids of Giza. Because in this country, we seem to use everything but the metric system. That's still a drop in the bucket compared to Earth's 13 septillion pounds. That's a lot of zeros for a lot of mass. Now, we know that the continents we live on will mean its uneven weight distribution to start. You'd have about 140 people per square mile of land. If Earth was all land, that figure goes down to 41. You'd still get a net zero result with everybody canceling out their polar opposite jumper, or equatorial opposite, or meridional, you get the picture. Let's gather everybody in one place and hope all our deodorant is working. We're going to assume gravity is constant and all 8 billion of us jump a foot off the ground. That means everybody hits the dirt at 5.5 miles per hour. Now, it's time to get serious, put on our thinking caps, and let somebody else do the work. Dr. Rhett Allain worked out this hypothetical scenario already, and with a series of convoluted calculations made simple, he came up with this figure. That infinitesimal speck of a distance is how much the Earth would move and would quickly rebound as if nothing happened. That's just 1/100th of the width of a hydrogen atom. Now, there are some surface-based ways, or at least within the crust, to throw the planet for a bit more of a curve. People may not make the cut, although Taylor Swift fans literally shook it off in Seattle recently, causing a 2.3 magnitude earthquake to be registered. Much higher on the scale, the 2011 Japanese earthquake actually shortened our days ever since by nearly 2 microseconds. So it's possible to affect Earth with a literal seismic shift, but even all the forces of humanity just cannot compare to plate tectonics. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
I've always said don't mess with plate tectonics. Still ahead, we talk more about Saturday's First Alert Weather Day. I know we got another one more cold on the way, and we take you beyond the 7-day to where we may possibly get a break from this Arctic blast. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. We're going to have more freezing temperatures, already freezing again for a lot of areas, but we did get just above that critical freezing point for more than half of the area today, which was nice to see. But you can see the temperatures are lining up nicely. By 9 o'clock tonight, we'll stop it right here. We start to get a few high clouds, but the temperatures dropping back into the low 20s and upper teens by 9 o'clock. You can see showing 22 here at Fayette, 26 in Aliceville, Centerville 24, Talladega 23, Pell City, Birmingham 26 degrees, and then as we go past midnight, seeing more teens showing up, showing temperatures down to around 16 degrees around Jasper, Gadsden Center. As Matt and Mickey noted earlier, we started out today, we had single digits, and by the way, that Tuscaloosa low temperature, Matt and Mickey had 12, but as we reassess the data today, actually Tuscaloosa also dropped to 11 degrees last night, but tonight you can see those readings here in T-Town down into the 20s. But tomorrow around lunchtime, we're going to start to see some precipitation moving in, but the good news about this setup is as the moisture moves in, temperatures are going up. When the moisture was moving in earlier this week, the temperatures were going down. So as this moves in tomorrow, you'll notice, and you may actually, when you check the First Alert Weather app, see that indication of some mixed precipitation tomorrow, but this happens a lot of times when we go from a very cold, dry setup into a rainy setup and the atmosphere starts to moisten. We'll probably see some sleet developing tomorrow by the afternoon in these areas to the north. A few areas you might notice some sleet pellets or some snow grains bouncing off the car top tomorrow, but that quickly is going to change over to just light showers that will be with us through tomorrow night. This is not going to be a heavy rain, but the moisture's lifting back in here by 4 o'clock. Temperatures are in the 40s. We're showing 46 here in Talladega, well above freezing. It's just a cold rain. Yeah, kind of cold, miserable rain there that's going to be with us through tomorrow night with temperatures in the 30s and 40s. But showers look to be around the entire coverage area, so we'll see a pretty good chance. Timing-wise for this, again, this will gradually increase by supper time tomorrow and continue into the evening. And then all the moisture moves out right by midnight for most of us. But you can see as we get into the day on Friday, the moisture is well out of here before the freezing line starts to move in again. But Friday during the day, that cold air is going to start to drop in. Friday is going to be a cold day. That high temperature is actually going to happen early in the day, and then we'll see temperatures falling. And as we go into the day on Saturday, we got more Arctic air. We're really going to notice it. We've declared a First Alert Weather Day Saturday because the temperatures will stay below freezing. Friday night, right on through the day Saturday, we'll probably see those temperatures as low as 10 degrees in some locations again to the north by early Saturday morning, and those wind chills, check it out, dropping into the negative and single digits there early on Saturday. So some dangerously cold weather coming for this weekend, another First Alert Weather Day. However, next week we finally see the temperatures a little bit closer to average. You'll notice 51 on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday in the 50s, and a chance for some wet weather to make a return for next week as we go to meteorologist Lauren Linehan. And okay. Well, we got this before we go to meteorologist Lauren Linehan. How about this? Let's check out this cool science experiment. You know, we've seen a lot of these experiments out there because of the cold weather, but be careful. This was done by Tyler Young, our First Alert weather watcher. This cool phenomena was created by boiling water due to temperatures being so low. Of course, it caused the water inside the pan to fully evaporate there as Tyler Young tried the experiment there in Trussville earlier today. But we've been seeing a lot of videos like that. Of course, be careful, out there with that hot water. But it's Lauren, one of those rare cold outbreaks here across the southeast region. Not quite to some of the coldest weather we've ever seen, but certainly you don't see the single digits like what we saw today. I mean, down to 1 degree in parts of our area.
Yeah, Wes, I mean, even if we have seen colder, it still kind of sucks, not gonna lie. So let's look at that First Alert weather calendar. You'll notice we've got a lot of days lit up for the possibility of rain. We're looking at a wetter, warmer pattern as we go into next week. And we'll also have to watch for the possibility, if there is going to be warm air around, could we see the potential for some storms. So that 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, January 25th through 31st, showing above average temperatures for all of the country. And what does that translate to? Well, next week we could see temperatures getting into the 50s, if not the 60s. 60s. Eventually, I think as we get towards the end of the month, we could see possibly a little bit of a cool down. But before we get there, things are going to get warmer. Once we get past this weekend, at least, because this weekend's going to be ridiculous. But next week, definitely going to be warmer. And then we have that cool down as we wrap up the month and potentially go into February. But we have also been seeing some signals that this could be an above average precipitation pattern, which El Nino loves to do, as we've noticed recently. But it looks like next week we could possibly see a scenario where a front stalls out. Here we are next Thursday, January 25th, showing another disturbance riding along that front, bringing some moisture in. I do want to watch next Thursday. Just going to go ahead and give you a first alert. I would say that's one of the days we want to watch for any storm potential. Not seeing anything that's jumping out like crazy right now, but I would say that's going to be one of the days to watch, possibly keeping wet weather around through next Saturday. And then as we wrap up the month, looking briefly drier and possibly getting that cooler air to come in before we see the possibility of maybe some more rain on January 31st. Tania?
Thanks, Lauren. Well, Lauren, I got to show this video because why not? This is so much fun. We all love to go to weather visits. Today I had the pleasure of visiting the students at Woodland Forest Elementary School in Tuscaloosa. We had so much fun reading my book, Weather Wonders, Exploring the Skies with Mom. And the kids were so interactive. They asked so many questions. We even watched videos of water spouts and learned about all kinds of stuff from tsunamis to hurricanes. They were asking all the questions, and that's what I love the most. They were super interactive once again. They had so much fun themselves, and they also learned a lot. Got to sit in the storm tracker, as you see right there. And I just want to thank Woodland Forest Elementary School for inviting me out to spend time with the STEM girls. It's our after-school program there. But for now, we'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra, so don't go anywhere. And hi, girls, if you're watching. Love you. We'll see you right here back on First Alert Weather Extra after the break.
And surprise, another freeze for tonight.
Boo.
It's cold.
Thumbs down. But it's going to get warmer next week, y'all.
Yeah, we'll show you tonight, first at 9.
Door open.